Jerome raps, Jerome raps, Jerome raps, Jerome raps.
These flats are anything but. I say these flats are dynamic athletes and actors that have it, actively tapped in with actual addicts. Apathy hampers the actions of activists. They have to keep anchoring allies that's lax, and they stay true to yourself. No telling what the crooked will do for this wealth. Used to the usage of cruelty, the tools of its felt. Ruefully through to the roots of communities brutally held. Look for this loot and they scoop it, they're shooting in Delft. The most beautifulest souls in this world have to hope to miss bullets, yet they rose to be heard, predicting their splendor, not gold or with pearls, but character that speaks of their home and its worth. It's flawed and finite, fallen I might call to highlight all the signs like wars and knife fights, lawless by night, scorn divine light, shores of white might cause to blind sight or decide life is beautiful. The Cape is more than wars and nightlife. Hello, everybody. This is the final episode of season 1 of Jerome Raps, where I talk you through my back catalog of songs and favorite verses and things that I really enjoyed writing and really enjoyed performing. And I think with Heritage Month coming up in September, this is probably an appropriate song to choose. The song is called Home. It's from my Al Jerome album. And I tried really to talk about the dichotomy that is Cape Town. You know, you have these beautiful scenes and these beautiful people that you find everywhere, all across the Cape Flats. And it's kind of like, even though there's beauty in it, even though there's beauty in when you drive through Kailicha, when you drive through Menenberg, when you drive through Bishop Lavis, it doesn't mean it's right. You know, it doesn't mean that the circumstances that have led to the origin of those suburbs is in any way right, just because we have managed to find beauty and find joy in those circumstances. So the song was really motivated by that sentiment, and it talks about home, it talks about Cape Town, and it talks about the beauty of Cape Town, but also about the things that are unfortunate in Cape Town. And I think the opening lines really sum it up. These flats are anything but. These flats aren't flat. These flats are dynamic athletes and actors that have it trapped in with actual addicts. So it's just, this dichotomy, as I said, you have these gifted athletes, gifted musos, talented individuals, and then also you have, of course, the scourge of drug abuse that just finds itself all over the Cape Flats, all over Cape Town, and I'm sure the rest of the country as well, wherever you find these communities, these kinds of communities. This song, I would have written it when indeed Al Jerome came out, December, I think, December 2018. So I would have written this in that time, at like the second half of 2018. And this is awesome because I really wanted to get Ivy Beats, my brother Ivy Beats, on the track and on the album somehow, and this was an opportunity for him. So when you go listen to the song, please go stream the song. Go to the website, go stream the song. You're gonna listen. You're gonna hear his cuts on there. He does some scratching and he does some cuts on there, and I have some little documentary snippets also in between, just to color the song in. I really like how it opens. I like the flow there, trapped in with actual addicts. Apathy hampers the actions of activists. What I mean by that line, when I say apathy hampers the actions of activists, it's like when you have a cause, I find the hardest part is not to convince people about your cause, but it's to get them to care. One way or another. I think somebody who loves what you are talking about or hates what you are talking about, those are easier to talk to than people who are just apathetic. And it's been really tragic in recent times to see this kind of apathy set into our country, because there used to be just hope. There used to be hope, despite a lot of things, despite corruption, people looting public funds and all these things. There was this hope that these people are brought to book and brought to justice. And what I noticed at the time is that there was really an apathy that had set in, and that's why I say apathy hampers the actions of activists. And then the next stanza is something where I try to do something different. Like usually when I write, I will rhyme a word, I will rhyme the last part of a word and so forth. If we talk about, like on my verse truth, I say we keep it factually accurate, handsome and immaculate, capturing the masses with our lamps, so get the matches lit. So I'm the whole time I'm rhyming the words or the sound of the words. Here, what I try to do is phonetically just rhyme with the sound, try the ooh sound. So I say, true to yourself, no telling what the crooked will do for this wealth. Used to the usage of cruelty, the tools of its felt. Ruefully true to the roots of communities brutally held. I thought that was pretty cool. I was feeling myself when I was writing that because I thought that was pretty cool. And then I talk about also the most beautiful souls in this world. There's these beautiful people in Cape Town, and there's beautiful people in all suburbs of Cape Town, not just on the Cape Flats. And what else is nice? Oh, the part at the end where I've Lord and fine night fall, and I might call to highlight all the signs like wars and knife fights, lawless by night, scorn divine light. I talk about basically um, how there's a side of Cape Town that tourists are shown, the waterfront and Table Mountain, and they really get to see another side of Cape Town, parts of Cape Town where people are afraid to go out after dark or during the day for that matter, where people are being gunned down every day uh, all over the Cape Flats, and it's underreported or it's not reported at all for whatever reasons. And I think at the time, those things were really frustrating me that because both parts are real, both parts are true. We are proud of our country, we are proud of our city. We take pride in the mountain as if my grandfather built the mountain. We are proud of the mountain, but at the same time, these other things are also real. And when we invite people over here, I think um, it bears mentioning that the Cape Town that you see, the stadium and Greenpoint Park and all these beautiful parts, that's not the whole story, and that's not the entire um, almost a heritage, because I think these things have become part of our heritage now. They've become part of the story and part of the journey of South Africa. So the last 40 years and the decades preceding that and the previous regime and the decisions that were made and systemic things that were put in place in order to perpetuate spatial imbalances and spatial injustice. And so even today we see that, we see how those systems that were put in that time, even though we are living under democracy, they were designed so deviously, so insidiously that they perpetuate themselves even today. If you look at like Albert Street, Bromwell Street, if you look at that whole corridor going up and down Woodstock at the moment, Woodstock Main Road, Woodstock Lower Main, you can see gentrification is happening. I talk in the second verse here, I talk about gentrification masquerading as urban renewal. It's under a different name, but the principles are the same. And so these things, I think they be talking about, they be mentioning, not to stir up anger necessarily, not to stir people up towards violence, but rather so that we can talk, so that we can have dialogue about what the real problems are in our country. Um, I mean, how else do you explain people moving into Woodstock? People in Woodstock complaining about the noise from a mosque that's been there for 50 years. It's obviously people who've just moved in, it's the effects of gentrification and displacement. Now people are being displaced from their homes. And so I believe that it's important for us to talk about the things that are happening in our country and realize that there are no easy answers. Regardless of which side of the fence you are on, there aren't easy answers here. But if we talk about it, we can build a little bit of compassion for one another. Yeah, home. I don't think I performed this maybe once ever. It's not a song that was really part of my live performance catalog back when performing was a thing. So December 2018 is when the album came out. So 2019, basically I had that year to gig and to perform this album. We did a series of rooftop tours, and at one of those I performed the song. And then 2 years ago, also in 2019, when we launched the video for Excel, me and Aki's Drat. We had a venue actually in Woodstock, and I thought, yo, I'm in Woodstock. I must talk about gentrification. I must do something that is relevant to what's happening in the area, and so on. And so I performed the song there. So it's not a song that I've had the opportunity to perform very many times, um, because I just had this album full of new material, and I was loving doing the songs, but the opportunities hadn't really presented themselves in the interim. But I'd love to get this out on radio and so forth, get the video together or something to celebrate Heritage Month. So let's hope that happens. In the meantime, go find the song, man. Give the song a listen and tell me what you think about it. That's how.
You call it the cake flex, but we call it home. You call it the cake flex, but we call it stand up again,